Chapter 2. The Good News. As the sound of gunfire filled the room, the Stormbringer made a third disk of swirling purple clouds, this time at her feet. She fell into the mist with her long black ponytail trailing above. The bullets flew harmlessly through her hair, shredding only a few fibres as they passed overhead. She landed in a dark room with a loud bump. Putting her hands together, she closed the portal, halting the source of the purple light and bringing total darkness to the room. The child was safe from the gang for now. Pausing for breath, she removed her eye mask, placing it under a nearby bed with her Wellington boots. She turned on the light and looked at her reflection in the mirror. June had been working on her makeshift superheroine costume for almost 2 months. Her brother, Simon, was fascinated by fictional superheroes, and he treated June with as much disrespect as he could get away with. June planned to gain a reputation as a real superheroine before she revealed her secret identity to Simon to gain his respect. Tonight, she had used the costume to hide her identity from hardened criminals without success. She had, however, successfully located the hideout of the gang which had broken into her house 2 nights in a row. It was a bigger gang than she was expecting. "June, get to bed!" her father demanded as he opened the door just far enough for his head to fit through. June jumped into bed before his eyes could adjust to the light, hiding her improvised superheroine costume under the sheets. "I fell out of bed," she explained as innocently as she could. "Get back to sleep. You've got school in the morning," he grumbled as he fumbled for the light switch, flicked it to its off position, and closed the door. When she was sure her father was back in his own room, June slipped quietly out of bed, got changed from her costume into her woolly pyjamas, and tried to get to sleep. But she was too worried about the gang to sleep, and wondered what would happen if they tried to break in again. They might shoot everyone in the house before she could stop them. June sat up, created 2 disks of glowing purple clouds near the ceiling, and looked across the room at her desk. Without setting foot on the floor, she pointed her index fingers at the violet portals and moved one closer to the desk, the other to her side. Then she pushed her right hand into the nearer disk of clouds. The hand emerged from the other portal near the desk. Taking great care not to make a sound, June grabbed a pencil and a book of mauve sticky notes from the desk before she pulled her arm back through the disks. After guiding the furthest portal closer to the bed, June had enough light to write a note which read, "Please send help. Moss Side gang spotted at the old beer factory on Moss Lane with guns and dogs. Please come quickly. I don't have much time." After filling one side of the paper, she dropped the pencil next to her bed and peeled the note from the pad before closing both of the cloudy disks. June closed her eyes and opened another portal before throwing the note into the swirling purple mist. Once the paper had disappeared into the clouds, she closed the circle, threw herself onto her back, and pulled the bed covers tightly around her shoulders. "That should do it," she said with a yawn before drifting off to sleep. The loud ringing of June's alarm clock filled her ears. 6:30 already, she thought as she dragged herself out of bed to reach the clock, which she kept on her desk. June rubbed the sleep from her eyes as she walked towards her bedroom window and felt a gooey mess under her feet. Her father would ground her for weeks if he saw the muddy stain left by her boots the previous night, but that was the least of her problems. She drew open one curtain and looked out of the window overlooking the back garden. The darkness of the cold December morning was broken by a lonely-looking lamppost in the distance. After daydreaming for a few minutes, she moved the white faux fur rug over the muddy mess, quickly changed her bedclothes from pyjamas to the uniform of Macclesfield Brunel Academy, and left the room. Simon was raiding the kitchen cupboards. "Dad, where are the cookie puffs?" he demanded. "They're on the shopping list," grumbled his father as he hastily buttered his toast. June decided not to enter the kitchen with the 2 of them in the room. She dropped onto the settee while an episode of Grub Guy was playing on the holovision, and changed the channel to watch the local news. After a few minutes of a report about a collapsed building in Stockport, she found what she was looking for. In other news, the mysterious purple mist which had dropped 3 youths into a Macclesfield police station 2 days ago has been spotted again. this time bringing in 3 members of Manchester's notorious Moss Side gang and a dangerous dog. A note informing the police of the location of their base of operations was also found. Nobody knows who sent the note, but CCTV footage shows it emerging from a purple vortex. The message led police to an old brewery on Moss Lane, where they found a cache of weapons and 9 more armed gang members, claiming to be from the Moss Side gang. Police have yet to comment on what the gang was doing so far from their home ground. Some of the suspects had suffered bullet wounds, prompting a search for a rival gang, but no activity has been reported in the area. But the strangest discovery was a set of artificial body parts, put together to resemble a human figure, stated the voice of a newsreader over live footage from outside the former bottling plant. June breathed a sigh of relief. Her family was safe, at least for today. She tried not to think about what might happen if the gang were to escape from jail. June walked calmly into the kitchen, put 2 slices of bread into the toaster, and said, "Dad?" in the most innocent voice she could muster. "What do you want now?" he grumbled, trying to eat his own toast while concentrating on the computer display built into his glasses. "Have you ever thought about moving house?" "Let me guess, you want to move back to Lomas Square again?" "No, I mean, where would you like to live?" "Ideally Stoke. It'd be closer to work." Stoke sounded good to June. She knew it was further away from Manchester and the Moss Side gang. "When can we go?" "We're not moving. I've put too much work into this house. Don't let those burglars scare you. It says here they caught a gang around here just this morning," he insisted while tapping on his glasses. June buttered her toast and ate it quietly. If she couldn't move her family out of harm's way, she would have to get rid of the gang, even if it meant giving them what they were looking for. But first she needed to find out what that was. "They broke in through the same window last night," her mother called as she entered the kitchen. "They didn't leave a van behind this time, though." Her father slammed his glasses onto the table. "That's the 2nd time this week," he yelled before examining the lenses for damage. "Bloody cops, never around when you need them," he continued quietly. "Do you think the gang they caught in the old industrial estate is connected to the break-ins? It's strange how they never took anything," pondered her mother as she examined the contents of the fridge. "They always left in a hurry. The cowards took off when they heard me coming down the stairs," boasted Mr. Anderson. June left the kitchen and went back to the living room. She remembered how she had summoned the so-called purple mist, which had been reported so lightly in the news, and how she had used it to send the burglars to the nearest police station. Her mother walked in behind her. "Don't worry, dear. The Glazers are coming this afternoon to fix the windows properly. Do you want me to take you to school?" she asked softly. "No thanks, Mum," said June with a tear in her eye. "What's the matter?" "Nothing. I just don't want anything to happen to you, or Dad, or even Simon." "Nothing's going to happen. Get your bag and I'll see you when you come home." June collected her packed lunch from the kitchen, came back through the living room to the front door, and took her long coat down from the hook. After making sure Simon wasn't around, she went up the stairs to her bedroom and silently shut the door. Everybody else was far too busy to notice the sliver of purple light which shone out from under her bedroom door a few minutes later.